Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. My name's Andrew Gossett and welcome back to my channel. Guys, thank you so much, so much for your comments, your feedback, your likes, and actually watching the last series. Can't tell you how much it's given me in terms of confidence, and also how much it meant to me that some of you actually personally reached out and said that that video series helped you. So with that in mind, I thought it only fitting that we take a look at the opposite side of the coin. So last series was all about purchasing a property. This series is all about selling one. Now, whilst the journey may be the same, the landmarks are very different as you step through that process, depending on what side of the coin or side of the line that you are. When it comes to selling a property, I say the first bit that you need to do is to get your mind and your property right to sell. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when we talk about getting your mind to sell, I mean getting your mind around all of the subjects, all of the aspects, all of the things that are associated with the ongoing transaction. Now, I use the word transaction very deliberately here because that's exactly what it is. It's a transaction, and sometimes people get confused because it's a property they've lived in for 10, 15, 20 years, because it's a property that they've raised their children in, because it's a property that they have, you know, gone through so many life experiences in. And trust me, I'm not taking anything away from those experiences that you have served in that place. You need to bear in mind that when you come to a decision that you are going to sell that property, in other words, part ways with that property, what you are entering into is a physical transaction, and to an extent the emotions get removed out of it, or certainly you need to bear in mind that those emotional attachments that you have to the property don't add any financial value to the property itself, if that makes sense. I've been through this process with so many people now where, you know, when we're giving value, when we're providing valuations for a property, you know, you can almost see them reliving the moments that they've shared with their children, looking at the marks on the side where of how their kids have grown, and thinking that surely it must be worth more than that. Well, yes, it is to you sentimentally, but when we're putting a price on a property, it's all about what the property will sell for. It's all about what the property will sell for at the time that you're looking to sell it. You know? So get your head around that aspect of it, and also start to know your numbers. For some people that have got to the end of their mortgage term, there obviously will be no mortgage left to pay because that mortgage account will have been shut down. But for the vast majority of people, when it comes to selling their property, they're in a position where they're at mid-term through that mortgage, and therefore there will be a sum to pay back. There's likely to be early redemption fees attached to closing that mortgage early, and all of those figures will have a will have a bearing on what you have left to play with. Now, particularly if you are moving on and therefore making an ongoing purchase, it's really important at this point in time that you start to get your head around what amount you're going to have left. So therefore, as that will also dictate what you're able to go on and purchase. And it's always best to have those figures in mind so you can make informed decisions, even at the point of when you're starting your property search moving forward. You need to know exactly what you're dealing with. And don't forget things like stamp duty. Stamp duty isn't payable to yourself as you're selling a property, but it will be payable by yourself when you're purchasing a property. So take a look at how much your mortgage has got to repay, any additional fees and charges and what have you that lender pays. Then also pay attention to how much the stamp duty was likely to be on the property you're about to go and purchase. All of those figures are really crucial for you to understand, so you know exactly how much money you've got to play with, and therefore know what sort of search parameters to attach when you're looking at various different properties to move to. So that's your head and your emotions sorted out, but we've also got to get your property ready for sale. Now, when someone's looking at your property online, they are going to be performing opinions and making decisions based on what they see. And so we need to make sure that the images that get out are your property's best foot forward. You know, trust me, if you've lived in the property for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there are going to be things that you no longer see anymore, or things that you've learned to live around over the course of you being there, that ultimately, if they were snapshotted and put out to the rest of the world, could put someone off. What I would suggest you do at this point in time is to remove yourself out of the equation after you've decluttered it as best as you can. remove yourself out of the equation and invite a close family friend in to give them your opinion on what they see. Sometimes it even helps to actually physically take a picture and send it to them and go and review the picture. You can do it yourself and somebody else and go, right, cool. In this picture here, what doesn't fit? It's a really good exercise to do. As I said, when you're walking through your house, a lot of the time, because you're seeing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you won't even clock anymore that that wallpaper needs redoing, or that there's a scuff on that wall, or there's a mark on that wall, or your kids have drawn drawings all over one of the walls at the back in the back end of the lounge. You know, but all of these things, when they're imaged and put out, are an indication to someone that's looking to buy how well someone has looked after their property, and also an indication as to what they may be buying into and therefore inheriting. And as I said, we just want to make sure in those primary images that go out that this is your property's best foot forward. No, so just take the time before we go talking about agents, before we go talking about putting the property out there. Just as we've made that decision that yes, we're going to sell, let's just make sure that we've got our head right, our heart right, and also got the property right, so that when we're stepping forward, we know exactly what we're doing, and we know we're in the best possible light, space, and headspace to do it. That's me out for this week. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week, Tuesday. If you've got anything that you particularly like me to cover, please don't hesitate to drop me a DM or stick it in the comment section wherever you see this video pop up. But in the meantime, you take care, and I'll see you in the forwards.